After all the distractions, I'd spent far longer in this city than I'd planned. My race home was fast. Too fast for the overgrown brat to keep pace with me. I flew past the creature, his giant mane in need of a good brushing, sticking my tongue out as I went. The lion hollered after me, but soon gave up. Male lions were lazier than the lionesses. This one was no exception, only following us around on days when there was a nice breeze, never on windy days that spread dust everywhere. Pathetic. Apex predator, my ass. When I reached the cottage, I remarked on how quiet it still was. Supply carts had arrived, most likely new rations for the mess hall, but nobody was unloading them. They sat under the blistering sky, hopefully not spoiling. I had other things to worry about. Rory was sitting at the table, placing newly charged crystals into our empty lanterns. He'd changed into a rough-hewn white training shirt and baggy deerskin galoshes that hid his muscles and his curves. He took my breath away. I nearly tripped over the threshold. Rory tilted his cheek out, waiting for a kiss. Who was I to deny him? My lips lingered along his cheekbone, hot from my run. Sweat clung to my forehead and hair, and I cursed not running to the showers as soon as I returned. It was too late now. If I left, someone could volunteer me to unload those carts. But I couldn't. My eyes hadn't feasted nearly enough today. Sorry, boss. I sat at the adjacent seat, watching Rory's hands finish their work. Deftly, he unscrewed the hidden panels, using a skinny tool that wouldn't even fit in my hands. Too many calluses. I would be useless as a lizard. Did you see Boss today? I asked. Mm-hmm. Rory finished with one lantern. A purple glow began to emanate from the fixtures at the top. Most people didn't bother with any crystals that weren't white or yellow, but Rory always came back with different ones. He'd also bought filters to make the lights dance and cast shapes across the room. This one was a mixture of sliver moons and stars, those things from a fading era. Purple shapes dotted his white shirt, teasing at his long neck. I saw bruises there from last night, and like the bastard I was, I didn't apologize. Instead, I may have accidentally bit my lip to suppress a smile. Rory grinned like the cat he was. He wanted me to teach the girls how to braid. His wife was with us. I just got back a few minutes ago. I got something for you. I couldn't wait any longer. Rory agreed. Candied almonds? I smell them from here. That's a bonus gift, I said, puddling all my wares onto the table. The 2 bags of nuts, the boxes of cheese balls and spaghetti, food that couldn't be consumed on a battlefield, because grease really didn't loosen your hinges. It just made you in desperate need of a bathroom. At last, I unspooled the delicate blue pocket square that held the pendant. Rory pushed the lanterns away. Only the purple one spread a faint light. Though there were windows, the sky cast ever-present shadows, but with the lantern lit, we could at least make out the corners of the room now. He reached out both hands, taking the slim parcel gently and cupping it in his palms. Those deft fingers unfolded the envelope, holding the pendant up in the air. The crystal wasn't charged, but it still emitted a faint light. Something about the way it was prepared? I wasn't an expert in jewelry. That kittenish look stole over his face again. A kitten up to no good. I grew excited in my seat as he glanced at me from the corner of his eye. Hazel eyes, more green than brown. Now, what's this, he said slowly, standing from the chair with a long drawl. As the thing skidded back on the floorboards, a shiver spread down my spine. In 3 steps, Rory stood behind me, dangling the pendant before my eyes. He placed a hand on my shoulder, leaning half his weight onto it, as he bent his head down so that our cheeks brushed, just barely. My breath caught and held in my chest. For you. For me? Rory clarified, drawl trailing into a caress. Voice quieting, sweetening, he continued. You picked this out for me? My hands pressed flat against the table, though they wanted nothing else but to reach back, to touch. Patience. Patience. Yeah. And what did you imagine with this present in mind? Rory asked, lips pressed up against my ear. He purred. I didn't realize you liked me wearing jewelry so much, my lord. I liked it a lot. Rory chuckled. Did I say that out loud? What will it be today? He asked. A dancer again? Or a noble being courted by a humble soldier? I swallowed. How about a devoted husband showing up with a present after being away at war? Ah, Rory pulled away, hands already playing with the hairs at my nape. There was a distinctive pout in his voice as his fingers curled the little tendrils, nails lightly scratching against my skin. But that's pretty close to reality. I grabbed one of his hands, placing it on my heart as I turned in my seat. Without hesitating, Rory sat, straddling me in the chair. Can I have some reality today? His eyes closed as his little nose disappeared behind the palm of my hand, nuzzling it. You sure you won't be bored? You don't want me to jewel my nipples or something? A surprised laugh rocketed up my throat. Maybe when we retire. Wouldn't that hurt with wearing armor? Red tinged the tips of his delectable ears. Their subtle points were a drug designed to kill me. You'll definitely get sick of me by then. Impossible. But instead of saying that, I just leaned forward, kissing my hand right where his nose was hiding from me. Is that a no? Not a no, he said. I had to strain forward to hear it, nose to nose as we were. What do you want to do with me, husband? Watching him cling to his character instead of being himself was really just too cute. But today, I wasn't going to give in. I wanted to peel those layers away, the bravado, the characters. I loved the characters. But I wanted him to know I loved him, too, just as he was. Can I kiss you all day long? Throwing out a pouty lip, he said, Just kiss. That's it? Yeah. A disbelieving snort gave me an opening. I slid my hand out from his grasp, taking his final layer of defense away from him. With nothing to hide his blushing cheeks, I wrapped my arms around his body, pulling him so tight that he couldn't breathe without me knowing about it. Who would want to kiss me all day? Is that a no? Rory scoffed, but sobered almost immediately. He tried to turn away, but where could he go? I just want to make sure you're happy, so if you want to do something else when you get bored, just do it. It's okay. Why would I, when this beauty just agreed to make out with me? Face redder than the sky, Rory poked at my nose, then wrapped his arms around my neck. Your intentional flirting is worse than when you're not trying. Just being honest, I mumbled, and those were the last words spoken for a time. I kissed everything I could see, everything I could reach. I couldn't help but think of that roll slathered in the shrimp butter from last night. You had to prepare it, taking your time to spread the butter to all corners of the bread before tasting. I drove myself crazy now as I sampled Rory's skin, the patch behind his ear, right under his jaw where an old scab had made a little ribbon across his flesh. Each one of those delectable freckles. Even when our mouths touched, I didn't rush. The torture was thoroughly enjoyable. I felt every nerve ending in my body come alive as our lips moved against one another's. Closed, still closed, until Rory gave a kittenish growl, swiping his tongue against the seam of my mouth. Without hesitation, I swooped in, swallowing his breaths, and then I was lost. Drowning happily, my fingers probably rougher than I wanted as I gripped him in place. Then, the door opened with a startled thud. Rory, is Elle back yet? Rory shocked so hard, he somehow ended up on the other side of the table, effectively ripping himself out of my arms with a snap more effective than splicing my muscles from my bones. Boss stared into the room with wide eyes, one foot still raised in a step.